only is it ineffective, not only is it targeted for an obsolete threat, but the people that are a part of it don't even want to pay for it. That should tell you something. If they're not willing to put any money into the support of NATO, maybe they don't believe that it's effective either. All these people who are wringing their hands in Europe and saying this is a problem. Maybe it isn't a problem. We need to look at all of this stuff anew. We need to look at these trade deals that we have. We need to look at the alliances that we have, these institutions that have been put in place for 50, 60 years, and we need to reevaluate them from time to time, don't you think? That's what Donald Trump is doing. He's a fresh breath of air that is coming in. Let's take a look at this report where he looks at ISIS oil and the relationship with Putin.
One thing with the oil, because you've covered it. For 3 years, I've been saying hit the oil because ISIS is getting strong. And they're no JV, as the president said, and they're certainly not contained. But I said hit the oil and hit them hard. And they laughed at me. And they would put generals on television saying, no, that strategy wouldn't work. Well, after Paris, they started hitting the oil. And it does work. The problem is we've given them a 2-year edge. They have billions of dollars.
The Russians started hitting the oil for 1 month, and ISIS is already rolling over. So Putin is following your strategy. You know Vladimir Putin well.
We should have done it 2 years ago, Alex. That's the only problem.
Donald Trump joins us live. Can you speak to, as president, what your relationship would be with foreign leaders and what you know about Vladimir Putin? Because all I know is, why are we starting a fight with Russia when they're not doing anything to us?
Right. Well, number one, and just to finish on the oil, by the way, I say hit the oil, but we should keep the oil. In other words, we should keep. We'll get ExxonMobil. They'll go in. We'll get other of our oil companies. We'll get some of the great oil companies. We bid it out. We should keep the oil. You know, in the old days, to the victor belong the spoils, right? We don't have that. We go in, we fight a war, and we leave. We get nothing, except we get debt and we get deficit. That's all we get. I think I get along great with people. I mean, I will probably get along well with him, and if I don't, somebody else will, and who knows? You know, he's a difficult cookie. He's tough and he's smart. I was on the show 60 Minutes with him recently. Not together. I mean, they did him and they profiled me at the same show, which was we were stablemates, right? But I think I'd get along very well with him. I think it'd do fine. Look, here's the thing. We lose with every country, and yet we don't get along with any countries. China is killing us. Everybody's killing us. China's just beating us to a pulp and trade. Japan, Mexico is killing us, and yet we don't get along with anybody. With me, they're not going to get so rich. Believe me, they're not going to get so rich at all. We're going to take back our jobs. We're going to take back our manufacturing. We take back our base. But they'll like us more than they do now.
And again, that was Donald Trump as he was interviewed by Alex Jones on our show. You know, he says, maybe we should keep the oil. Well, you know who is keeping the oil? ISIS is keeping the oil. Remember we talked about the fact that Barack Obama has dropped like 25,000 bombs in that area that ISIS controls, and Russia pointed out, you know, isn't it interesting that not one single bomb out of those 25,000 that you dropped landed on an ISIS oil field? And of course, we see convoys of trucks that are carrying ISIS oil freely going back and forth from the oil fields into Turkey, never attacked, even though the media can get video of that, and our satellites apparently don't know that it's there. They can't get any drones there. Isn't that curious? Isn't it curious, as we pointed out at the very beginning of this, years ago, all of the convoy of small Toyota pickup trucks, you know, the Hilux trucks that just keep going and going and going, you know, the ever-ready trucks that the terrorists love to use. There are these convoys and people just sitting up on top of them, driving around. They're not in tanks or anything. This is a bunch of yahoos with Arabic headbands on, and nobody did anything to attack those convoys. And yet, we have situations where, miraculously, even though we can't drop any bombs on them, we somehow mistakenly drop arms and parachute those down to the ISIS people. Oh, that was a mistake. Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to clear out and leave behind an entire arsenal for ISIS. We didn't mean to bring in this Chechen Islamic terrorist that had been attacking Russia. We didn't mean to bring him in from Chechnya as our surrogate into ISIS, did we? They tried to push that war, and we pushed back very hard against that narrative that only the Syrian government could have launched that sarin gas attack against the civilians. We said that's a lie. That's not true. This has happened before. And we had UN weapons inspectors, we had Russian inspectors, and eventually American military came in and said, no, that's not true. That could have been done by anyone. It didn't have to be done by the Syrian army. That is not a pretext for going to war that we should be paying attention to. We had soldiers holding up signs saying, we're not going to be Al-Qaeda's Air Force. We had Ron Paul saying that and Rand Paul saying that. We're not going to be Al-Qaeda's Air Force. So we did not get involved with a ground war in Syria at that time. We pushed back against that. Now we have a president who understands that lie, who understands what they were trying to do. We've got another clip that I want to play for you, another commentary, Donald Trump and ISIS. Let's go to that next report here.
Strong military, and we don't want to have to use it. Ideally, we don't have to use it, although we will destroy ISIS. At the same time, we will pursue a new foreign policy that finally learns from the mistakes of the past. We will stop looking to topple regimes and overthrow governments, folks. Remember, $6 trillion, $6 trillion in the Middle East. $6 trillion. Our goal is stability, not chaos. Because we want to rebuild our country. It's time. It's time. We will partner with any nation that is willing to join us in the effort to defeat ISIS and radical Islamic terrorism. Okay, we have to say the term. Have to say the term.
That was Donald Trump at one of his stump speeches. You heard that.